welcome to the second episode of our podcast. Completely new name. We are now the Nestene Conversationess.
Yes.
After some controversy.
Woo!
So, thank you everyone for tuning in. Stan and Jack, would you like to take the floor and tell us what episodes you guys recommended?
So we have today a classic episode and a new episode. The classic episode we were talking about is Tom Baker's The Talons of Weng-Chiang, and Jack's pick, which is the new one, is
The God Complex, season 6.
Yay!
Now let's get this out of the way just before we start talking about. We did have quite a long conversation about
like 20 minutes.
We did start recording this episode and had a 20-minute conversation, and unfortunately one of our audios glitched out.
He who should not be named.
He who should not be named audio glitched out. So some of the Talons conversation might be a bit, I don't know,
all over the place.
Weird, but yeah, all over the place, and
Yeah, like
some
the
stuff
whole
might not be
Groundhog
as
Day
in
kind of
depth.
thing,
But
we're gonna try and
carry on,
we'll try and edit it so it seems like a natural kind of thing. But yeah, just worth pointing that out just in case it sounds a bit off at times.
Right. So I guess starting off, what do we all think of the episode? Well, I just want to say Tom Baker's my new favourite Doctor.
Yeah, that's a pretty important one.
It's a pretty important starting point. My new favourite Doctor is certainly Tom Baker now.
So why do you think Tom Baker's now your new favourite Doctor?
Just like, I can't explain it, but just the way he does things, like, I don't know, I just like watching him. I don't get bored of him. Like, every time he's on screen, it's something different. Like, he can be serious, he can be funny, he just has like this presence about him.
Yeah, I think he like steals every scene he's in. He's just basically like a entertainer. It's like a host or something.
He's very fun.
Yeah, I really like Tom Baker. He's up there for me. Jack, what did you think about Tom Baker in this?
I mean, I love Tom Baker, already. So it was nice to watch a story that I hadn't seen in a while, and just kind of refresh my mind, watch it actually properly, and write down notes about it. It helps me kind of understand the story a lot better.
Yeah,
definitely, he's just a very enjoyable Doctor. Like, there's nothing, he's got such an energy that you don't really want to take your eyes off the screen when he kind of steals the performance. Like,
he's very interesting to listen to as well. Like, when he speaks, he has a very interesting kind of way of speaking about things.
Hello, I'm the Doctor. Like, he's
quite like bohemian sort of, isn't he?
I was actually scared of him as a kid. Fun fact. I think it was his eyes.
His wide looks he does.
Hello, I'm the Doctor.
My first ever experience with Doctor Who, I think I've told you guys this, was Tom Baker. There was an episode
on the moon, but I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
If people listen to this, if anyone,
I can't think what it is.
There's an episode where he's on the moon or some kind of planet, and he's walking along, and he's eating jelly babies. Now that probably doesn't really narrow it down that much, but I could have sworn it was
on the moon. I don't remember.
My dad said to me they were on the moon, and he had a pack of jelly babies in a brown bag, and he was eating them. And then he offered the person with him. He was like, "Would you like a jelly baby?" And then they were like, "No, thanks."
The main example that's coming to my head is the scene from the Pirate Planet, but that's not on the moon. That's on like a kind of futuristic-looking city.
It could have been. There was
I don't know.
massive things in the background, like spikes or something in the background.
It could have been that one, though. I don't know. I guess maybe we'll find it again one day.
Maybe. Who knows? On a whim, we end up choosing that one.
I've had that a few times in my complete Who rewatch thing I've done. Like, I've watched a few and I recognise it. I'm like, oh my god, I saw this as a kid and I forgot I'd seen it.
Right. So one thing about this episode, guys, the racism, the blatant...
the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
The elephant in the room, the blatant racism.
A very big part of this episode.
So we've all written down quotes and one thing we've all written down is, of course, Mr. Chang saying, "I understand we all look the same."
Yeah, that's the first thing that I put down. I understand we all
when
look
I first saw that, I was like, oh my god. It really stuck out to me when I saw that.
Yeah, but like, it wouldn't even be that bad if it was an actual like Chinese person saying that. Like, oh, it's satirical, but it's a white man in makeup to make himself
Yeah.
look
It's
Chinese.
when you guys said to me, like, oh, this is such a racist episode, I didn't expect it to be that racist. And also, I know Irish people aren't a race, but there's a bit where he calls the Irish guy a pixelated leprechaun. Like, they're just going for every single person they can in this who isn't
He's
English.
insulting every single nation. Like, oh my
I
god.
wonder who the writer for this one was.
It was. Oh, I actually write down the writer. It was Robert Holmes.
Is Robert
Oh,
Holmes-
he didn't. He did loads of good ones, I think. Didn't he do the Sontaran ones as well and stuff? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Have a look.
I write that down in my notes. I do Talons of Weng-Chiang by Robert Holmes.
Oh, I think he did the Caves of Androzani as well. The
Oh, the Cave of
most
Androzani
famous
is a
Doctor
really good
episode.
one.
Yeah, that's the considered the best episode Doctor Who ever. So
Really?
that's an interesting one.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
definitely
it's
still
fantastic.
an episode on that then.
Definitely
Yeah.
the best Peter Davison story. There's not a lot of good ones. You've got like Earthshock and Castor of Alva. But
I
this is-
disagree, but if we ever get onto it, we will talk about it. But I disagree myself.
Okay, one thing I want to say about this episode as well that made me laugh is the giant rats.
The giant rats. Yes. One
It
of
was
the
so
things,
weird.
right, one of the things. It was very, it was
The screams.
very obvious when they would switch from the giant ass models that they have and having an actual mouse in like a
Yeah,
small
but like the
little
camera
model.
Yeah.
is really low down like this. Oh, that was so fucking.
They-
The
they had a
first
really
bit was like
obvious
that
shot.
rat in a really small model of the sewers, and I was just
Yeah.
like laughing.
It was so obvious that they did that. It was like a small
The-
little sewer set for the rat. Oh.
I've seen that so many times with like the cities and stuff, and like the blowing up castles and stuff you see sometimes.
And another thing with the racism, like, I don't think it was Mr. J Girl. I think it was is it Mr. Lightwalk?
Lightfoot.
What's his name?
Lightfoot.
Lightfoot.
Lightwalk.
Lightwalk.
It's like a Star Wars
It's like-
character.
Lightwalk. Oh right. So yeah,
what was it- what did he
Mr.
say?
Lightfoot. He pretty much summed up the entire story right at the beginning. After he got attacked for the first time by his group of little yellow men, quote unquote. He said, "Oh, now I have a couple of inscrutable chinks, a poor perisher who was chewed up by a giant rat, having been stabbed by a midget." And it's like,
And yeah, the midget thing as well. There were so many offensive terms in this episode. Like,
yeah, they used midget a lot.
The question is this more racist than the Celestial Toymaker, where the N word is actually used?
Yeah, but that's the thing. They don't really do it in racist context. It was just
That's-
like,
yeah.
because
I do think this
just
is- I
because
think this
the
one was
N-word
worse.
Catcher,
used.
Yeah,
so-
it was a bit more just.
This one was definitely
It was- yeah.
disparaging.
And it was
to
under
things
his
like,
breath
oh,
as well, wasn't
the
it? So-
Chinese,
This-
like
Yeah, this one felt more like an attack, whereas the other one felt like, oh, it's just a nursery
A
rhyme from
product
the
of the
time,
time,
and
yeah.
whoops.
yeah.
Yeah, but this
He
one
said
actually
it
felt like
under
a
his
bit of a
breath as well,
offensive
didn't he?
one.
He was just like, I'm gonna say he's just
Yeah,
he just kind of like did it like that.
it's just like one of
Oh,
those
yeah, no, if
baited
it's the
things, I
nursery
guess.
rhyme thing, then it's definitely a product. Like, if it was something different, like, oh, this group of attacked me, then it would be like, oh, like
Yeah.
with this one, it's like, oh,
I would argue this one's worse.
these yellow people, and like, oh, the chinks and the little men and stuff like that.
Yeah, I would argue this
Tom
one was
Baker
worse,
said those
but-
Chineses on the 5th episode. He referred to them as those Chineses.
This was children's idol in the 70s. It's funny, some like kids who came to school the next day and started attacking like all the Asian kids.
Yeah,
and
imagine being
Yeah,
a Chinese
the
kid
one
in British
Asian
school
kid in the
after
class.
this episode. You're just like, oh,
Yeah.
fucking hell. Everyone, let's play
God.
Doctor Who. Did everyone see the latest episode? The one Chinese kid's like, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Let's
You
take
could be
Doctor
Mr.
Who.
Chang.
You're Mr. Chang's. Oh, fucking hell, alright. Here we go.
Right. Straying away from the racism, the side characters, Mr. Lightfoot.
I think we should first start off with Leela. We haven't talked about Leela yet.
Oh, Leela, of course,
Yes,
yeah.
Leela.
We should go with Dr. Companion. Yeah, Companion.
Yeah,
I
really
think she was
liked it.
great. I really like Leela. Yeah, I think she's a
Yeah.
perfect contrast and like she's basically the opposites of Tom Baker, so
She's
I think it
useful
works great.
for herself. She gets into these situations.
Fends for herself, yeah.
Fends for herself.
Yeah.
She doesn't rely on the Doctor. That's
Yeah,
the
she
main
gets
thing.
herself out of the situations, which again, like it's to do with her character as being from some other planet, which you do not see at all in the modern series. Like they don't do any of that. They not once, I don't think. Have they ever had 1 or 2 episodes of having a companion from like another planet?
I guess
from another
you
time.
could kind of argue. Well, no, you could argue about like the like Strax and stuff. That kind of counts. Like with the TARDIS team
but I mean,
and
he
stuff.
didn't travel with the Doctor, so like I'm talking as
Not at all. I feel like he did, but I don't know.
No,
Maybe
he
not.
was just in the Victorian times, wasn't he, with Madame Vastra? And
Yeah, that was pretty close though. That was pretty,
that's
like,
that
he
is the
kind
closest. Actually, no, I forgot. Adam from Series 1 was from 2012, wasn't he? Remember
Adam?
Remember Adam, that one side character who fucked everything up? From
No.
from the episode Dalek.
Oh.
That guy
Yeah,
he came with them for like 1 episode, and he was from.
Imagine
He was
thinking
from.
2012 is the future. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, as weird.
Yeah, it's the Olympics episode and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's like. Yeah.
Where is that linked? I can't remember.
2012 was the Olympics, yeah.
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 They did the 2012 Olympics before 2012, which is weird.
That's pretty weird.
But yeah, anyway, yeah. So yeah, they need to do more of that because Victoria and Clara was very nearly the main companion, wasn't she? And then they just.
I would have liked that.
Are we
Yeah,
talking
I
about
would have liked that.
Clara, Peter Capaldi, Clara.
Yeah, yeah. So like when
Yeah,
she got introduced with Matt Smith, didn't she? And
That was the one where he went to the Dalek place and she was inside the Dalek.
No. There was another thing when she got introduced in the Snowmen. She was a Victorian maiden.
I remember
and she
that one,
died,
yeah.
She died in that one, which is supposed to go into
I
this
don't-
weird. It was this
remember
weird
that
story, pretty much. But she got introduced as a Victorian maiden the second time, and
I
Stephen
never
Moffat very.
officially finished Matt Smith's run.
Yeah,
Because some
that's
of the
it.
episodes weren't on Netflix.
Oh wow. They're on iPlayer now, I think.
Yeah,
But
they're all
I'm-
on iPlayer.
I have not ever watched. I've not watched Matt Smith's Regeneration.
Oh, his regeneration's actually
I
really
did.
like bittersweet. Like he's got a nice speech and all that, which is quite sad about change. It's
Yeah.
nice. It's kind of just not really sad, but it's just bittersweet. Like with Capaldi's regeneration, I found it really sad because he was just because of how shit Jodie is. It was just like, please don't go.
Yeah. The end of Decent Who.
Right,
Yeah,
I feel we're
like-
getting a bit off topic here, so
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we
let's
are.
move to back to Weng-Chiang.
So other side characters include Lightfoot and Jago, which I think
They're
were a
great.
top tier
Best
duo.
duo in the world. I love them. And Stan, you have a fun fact about
Yes.
them, don't you?
Yes, a fun fact. Back here when this came out, the producers of the show were actually heavily leaning towards introducing a spin-off show for them, but that fell through, unfortunately. But that was
I
a
would have loved
genuine
to see
plan at the time.
I genuinely would have loved to
Yeah.
have watched that. Because when I was watching it, I thought to myself, I like these two characters. If they had a spin-off show, I'd love that. Like they need one. They're so good together. And Jack,
Yeah, it's a perfect.
you also have a fun fact about Mr. Jago.
I do, yeah. So the actor Christopher Benjamin, he played not only Mr. Jago in Talons, but he also played Colonel Hugh Kirbishley in The Unicorn and the Wasp. So the guy in a wheelchair who ended up not being a man in a wheelchair. He kind of like stood up and was like, "I was lying to you."
I'm not
but-
really paralysed.
Really
He's like,
weird.
"I'm not
Another
really
offensive
paralysed."
episode.
That was
Another
such a
offensive
weird
thing.
ass episode.
I like that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
not
no,
still.
it's like a classic murder mystery, which is like they've got this thing where they got like talking to people like one-on-ones, of like oh, where were you that night? And it reminds me of Knives Out.
Yeah, I get that vibe as well.
Yeah,
Right, let's
like,
not.
it's very
let's-
Knives Out.
we'll discuss that episode one day, guys. Let's not get off.
Oh,
let's
yeah.
not go
Yeah,
another
no.
tangent.
Yeah, it's good happening. What do we think of all the Sherlock undertones?
Love.
I only
yeah,
noticed
loved it.
one. And the only one I noticed was two. Scotland Yard, and when the Doctor says, "Elementary, my dear Lightfoot," or something like that.
What about the hat and the Mrs. Hudson's house and
And the
everything?
fog.
Is that
like
not his
the
normal
Victorian
outfit? Yeah.
setting.
Is
Huh?
that not his normal outfit?
No.
No.
Keep in mind,
no.
this
He's
is,
dressed
this
up
is
like
the
that.
only Tom Baker story I've ever seen. So
No,
He's got
he's the
this
one with the long
lovely
scarf.
doesn't he?
I
Yeah.
thought so. I was watching it. I was like, I swear this man's meant to wear like a colourful scarf.
Yeah, I mean, that was just for the episode where
he
he's
was
like
just
blending
wearing
in.
stuff to fit the era.
Oh.
Which goes on to my point about how like modern Who should do that a lot better, like a lot more.
Yeah.
You know?
Have like iconic outfits.
No. I mean, like every episode wearing different stuff to kind of suit the era. They did that in the Idiot's Lantern series 2. You know,
Yeah.
the 60s.
Family of Blood, maybe, if that counts.
I think they do that
I
in,
mean-
some,
Not really.
in some New Who episodes though. Didn't
Family
they?
of Blood, they did that to be undercover. Like they didn't do it
Yeah.
just to blend in, just you know, for fun.
Yeah,
like
a bit of
they
a
did
stretch,
in
but
classic.
yeah.
Yeah, like they should have done that a lot more. The last time I remember
then-
they did it properly was Thin Ice, you know, series 10.
Maybe thinking
That
about
was
I like
really
that a lot
good
because it feels like
costume
more
design.
fun adventures.
maybe
Like
thinking
just,
about the
you know,
Doctor
oh
as a
look,
character though.
olden
Like
days.
he's been to all these different time periods, and like he's done the whole blending in thing, and now at this point he probably thinks like, oh well, what's the point, you know?
Yeah,
Like I
it's
might
your
as well
point,
just go
really.
in
Kinda,
whatever I
yeah.
want to wear. Like
I do also like the idea that he doesn't know, like he has a bad dress sense because he's from all different times. I like that idea as well. Like that's been kind of touched upon a few times.
right.
It's also cool.
So back
Oh,
to Talons
actually,
once
no.
again.
Wait, hang on. Sorry, wait. Going back to the snowman, he was wearing Victorian clothes, wasn't he? 11.
I can't remember. I haven't seen it in ages.
He was wearing,
I just remember it was
like
in.
a brown coat and all that, and a top hat.
I remember that was in Queen Square.
It was in Queen Square, yeah. My brother actually
Yeah.
met.
That was in
like,
Queen
well,
Square.
waved at Jenna Coleman.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she waved back, and he was like, "Oh my god!"
Right. So
What do we all think of? Oh yeah, go on then.
I was just gonna say, what more can we say about Talons?
Well, I have a note about Mr. Sin. Thoughts on Mr. Sin?
Yes,
The little
thoughts on
was that
Mr.
the little one? Yeah, the midget thing.
Yeah, the midget
Yeah.
guy. Well,
Yeah.
let's not use
Can't
that.
say
We've
midget.
already been cancelled once. Okay, let's.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we can't be cancelled another time. We can't
So,
afford it.
Mr. Sin, the little person. What did you guys think of him?
Yes.
I thought he was really
I
cool.
felt like, yeah, I think, I couldn't take him very seriously just because of the like it felt a bit dated, but also the concept himself was just pretty creepy. I feel like I would have found it a lot scarier if I was, in the 70s and not really used to that kind of, knowledge of TV and stuff. But
Yeah, if I was a
it's
kid,
cool.
right? If I was a kid and I was watching Talons for the first time, and I see that scene where was it Mr. Jago sees blood going down Mr. Sin's
yeah.
hand?
oh, that was awesome.
That would have scared the fuck out of me. Like,
This episode
Wait,
was pretty
that
dark.
was
to
never
be fair.
explained. Why was there blood going down his arm?
I think he got
Because it's a
hit.
real person, isn't it?
Yeah, it was a real person, and he got stabbed when he was fighting that random bloke.
It's a
Oh
Like
yeah,
it's a
he was
pig
like
combined with a robot, isn't
a
it,
pig
something?
homunculus.
yeah.
yeah, with like
He's got the
robot elements or something.
cerebral cortex
Cortex
of a pig.
Yeah.
That's why he was
Yeah.
squeaking as
But-
well. There's a lot of like plot holes that fix itself, like continuity stuff, like about him being a pig. Like
It's
you
so
begin
well
to
thought
notice
out.
the squealing and stuff like that, which is quite cool.
I have to say one thing. I know
Yeah.
I mentioned this last time, but I'm just saying it if there's any audience out there. The thing that made me laugh when he jumped on the Doctor and it was just an obvious fucking ragdoll and he just smacks it on the ground. I love that bit. And that made me cry. It was so unexpected. It's just like
Especially because it's like so undoctory to just fucking like smash around this little pig person.
It's like a random little like hybrid like being. He just throws him about.
It's like imagine if like the new New Who like the Doctor just picks up like a Dalek or something from the cage and just smashes it on the wall or something.
yeah, picks up one of
Squids.
the Dalek puppets and swings it around, like smashes it on the ground.
Like
You know what I thought was our character for the Doctor though? At the end,
the racism for stars.
well, yeah, the racism for the bit where he grabs Weng-Chiang and just throws him into that fucking thing and kills him.
Yeah, there's lots of I think but in the early days he was like less.
Yeah.
I mean, he started off like being less child friendly, and then it kind of transcended towards that. I think.
Now I feel like he became more of a pacifist because of the whole Time War thing. He became
that's true.
more kind of hesitant about what he's doing when it comes towards violence, just because he killed his own people,
Yeah.
didn't he? So like,
Is the
It's
Time
also worth
War,
noting-
is the Time War mentioned ever before New Who?
No, it happened. It happened after Classic
happened in
Who,
between.
but before New Who.
So did it happen
It's like-
in the gap between Classic Who and New Who?
Yeah, it's an like you don't see it happen.
Oh,
it's just
so
like
it's
a kind
like
of
a new
reference.
concept for why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do get
Ah,
bits, obviously.
right.
In the
Yeah, it's a
50th
reboot.
anniversary, you get like full-on
Oh, yeah,
footage
yeah.
of the Time War, which is really
Yeah,
cool.
that's the one
Yeah.
with John. That's not with John Hurt.
John Hurt.
John Hurt. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
But but prior to that, it was just like a kind of mentioned like event that was in the gap between like to
Yeah.
start the reboot up.
And going back
Which
to
is
like
cool.
Leela, how there was so many times where she like could have died. Well, like from the Doctor's perspective, she could have been dead, and he just didn't seem like he cared really. Like he was just like, oh that's a shame. Oh well. Like oh, I hope
well.
she's alright. And when
Yeah.
she got attacked by the rat,
I literally thought she was dead.
He's
though.
like,
I
Leela,
genuinely
you
thought she
you
was
right?
dead.
he's like, Leela, you okay? Like she's poking her with the gun. Like,
I was going to say to refute that point, it could have been because he had faith in her as like a warrior alien or whatever. But no, now
But she was on the ground.
Yeah, no,
like-
now you've mentioned the bit where she's on the ground with the rat, and it's just like,
Yeah,
oh,
we were just-
are you alright?
like, Leela, you good? Come on, get up.
Get up,
She's
you silly woman.
lifeless. Yeah, she's just lifeless. She's like.
Thing is, I found that sewer scene disgusting as well because it actually looked like they were in a sewer. Like I swear there was like shit stains on their trousers and that.
Yeah, there was. Her like white
fucking
dress, and it got like
gross.
loads
Yeah.
of stains. It was
Yeah.
horrible.
They put for like such a low budget for that like show at the time. It's so well thought out, like all little details
Yeah.
and things like that.
I was thinking
Like,
that
it really
like,
owns-
for its time, it's quite impressive. Even the rat
Yeah.
props, they look shit, but it's like they were just working with.
But,
what-
yeah, they were
the
working
set
with very
design
little.
and shit was phenomenal.
Yeah. I mean, think about how much it would have cost to build all that shit. Like, even if it looks bad now, like building all that would have cost a lot.
Speaking of stuff like set design and that, the music, I love the music.
Oh, it's so like
I
classic.
don't
and
know
just...
if it was just because of a nostalgia sense, like because I love 80s movies and stuff and that, and like that kind of era music, but the music was top tier. I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the
Just
one of
fun.
the things that like me and Stan used to do like during our like just two person sets. I remember we listened to the Logopolis soundtrack.
Yeah. The 80s, like.
Yeah, because the Tom
Yeah.
Baker soundtracks are just so good. Like his final soundtrack that he
Yeah.
had, his final story was really good. Like,
Yeah. Is that all, like, each story, or not all each story, but like the kind of bit like big stories, the
Yeah, like-
important ones, they
yeah,
all
like,
have like
that's-
very iconic soundtracks.
that sting that it has, as he's regenerating, you have the classic Doctor Who theme, but it's like 80s because like
Yeah.
like it's
Another
like,
thing
like a synth. It's so
about
cool.
this Doctor and era, I suppose, if it is part of the entire era, I don't know. I much prefer the TARDIS just being there and then dematerializing rather than being like and like going in and out of dematerializing. No, this one just kind of fades away.
It does make
I
more
prefer-
sense though, doesn't it?
I
That
prefer-
it just
I
sort
prefer
of
that.
fades.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
like it because it takes ages in the New Who where it's like.
Oh, Liam, if that pisses you off, you'd be very pissed off by. We'll talk about it actually. I think Jack knows one about in Revolution of the Daleks, the time thing where it takes different times to get places.
Oh, don't get me started on that. I could
Yeah,
talk about that
we'll
for
start-
like
we'll talk
20
about-
minutes. Yeah.
We'll talk about that soon.
God, okay, I know what you're. I can see what you're talking about, and that is going to piss me off if we ever watch those episodes, man.
We are, but next
Yeah,
episode
it's
I
like,
think
yeah,
we
but
were
it's like
saying about.
even in like the Capaldi era, you see he pulls the lever back and then pulls it forward, and then they're in like Australia. Like he walks to the lever.
We'll
and he
talk
goes-
about it soon.
One thing though
Soon.
about this,
Or
now
10
we're
minutes
talking
to
about
Tokyo,
now we're talking about the TARDIS, and we didn't see the interior of the TARDIS at all in this episode.
Yeah, we didn't.
I didn't actually pick up on that just because I already know what it looks like. So, but I guess
I've
if you're
never
kind of not
seen
used to it,
and
then
I'm more used to I'm more used to seeing the interior of the TARDIS.
Yeah.
I think it was mainly because they were far from Wales or wherever the TARDIS interior was.
what?
No,
Wales.
Wherever the set was, they were far away.
Far
They were
from-
filming. They were filming like somewhere else, weren't they?
Oh yeah,
And obviously, it's a it's a lot.
quite a
They
high
have a
budget
higher
one.
budget now, don't they? So they can just sort
You've
of
just made me
pay
realise
for
how
travel.
retarded. You just made me realise how stupid I was when watching the episode, because I was like, they were like in London, and I was just like, oh yeah, all of Doctor Who is set in London.
What?
I just thought to myself, like, oh yeah, London, that's just a normal place where Doctor Who is set. Like,
Where you got that from?
I don't.
What did you think of the do you think for like a 6-part, do you reckon it paced itself nicely?
Definitely, yeah.
I think it did.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
There was
deserves to
never
have
any
6
moment
parts.
where it felt like filler. It was all very like it kept you encapsulated, and everything felt like it was meant to be there in terms of story. And
Yeah.
stuff.
Definitely slow, but also never like a pointless scene. It always,
Yeah.
Yeah, but
you know,
yeah, even if there were
wasn't just
unnecessary bits,
drag.
it was entertaining. You know, like it wasn't like,
Yeah.
oh, come on, like.
yeah. I mean, yeah, you can make the argument about like Lightfoot and Drago like trying to escape, then ending up back in the same place. I guess that was pointless, but it was just
But it
fun.
was
like, to
comedic,
watch.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just never boring.
It's what makes me like annoyed that I really want like a spin-off now.
Yeah, that it makes you love their like,
Yeah.
dynamic even more.
Like,
Yeah, they're so entertaining.
Lightfoot and Jago Chronicles or something. Murder
One thing I
mystery.
liked about Lightfoot and Jago as well, they never really got like scared or confused about the futuristic stuff. The most they do is be like, oh, what is that device? And then he'd be like, a laser beam, and they're like, oh, okay, a death ray, and then that's it. They wouldn't be like, whoa, laser beams? What? How? Huh? They'd just be like, oh.
I guess though, because of the time, like this is set, they have less knowledge about that isn't completely out of the realm's possibility, because they don't really know what's going on across the other side of the world or whatever, or like in different kind of areas.
Oh, true, yeah, because it was all like...
That's kind of how I was reading.
Yeah, no, but like
that's how I was
with
reading
the
into
whole
it.
time
but-
cabinet, they just thought, you know, Chinese technology.
Like, good lord, Doctor, sort of thing.
yeah, like
Yeah.
so they didn't really have any knowledge.
I won't
But,
lie.
Yeah, I mean, they're...
This is
know
just a
about-
weird little
Oh,
detail.
carry on.
Oh, hang on.
No, carry on.
Oh, when the Doctor's chasing Weng-Chiang up the like ladders, right?
The backstage of
This
the
is-
theatre.
There's this close up. There's this close up as Tom Baker's going up the ladder, and Tom Baker's face is right up to the camera,
Yeah,
and
I
that
was going to
made me
mention
laugh.
that.
I've put a timestamp, so I'm gonna edit that in so people can see it.
It
But,
felt so out of place. It was just
it
him
was
like
so
crawling
weird.
literally right next to the
Yeah.
camera.
It was like a GoPro, wasn't it? Like like a
And then
surveillance
he was like completely
camera.
out of focus. Like, I won't lie, it was such a bad shot. It was like, why did they
Yeah,
put that
He
in?
was just like he was just going like he was like slowly going towards the camera.
And it was like all out of focus. All of it was out of focus. It was just like,
it just I love that. I just had to mention that because it just
But-
made me laugh.
you know, Mr. Chang, the guy who was a white guy dressed as a Chinese guy. I
Mm.
won't lie, I think he actually kind of passed kind of well at points. There was points where it's
I
like,
think so.
I
if I
think
didn't know
when he's like
beforehand-
when he's in far away and you don't think about it, I see what you mean.
if I
But
didn't
when
know
you see him close up,
beforehand,
you're like,
I might have really thought he was a Chinese guy.
I think when you see him from a distance and stuff, I kind of see it, yeah. But when he's like talking and his mouth like moves in like a really stilted way, it's like,
Ah, yes, Doctor.
yeah, his accent was so bad. It was like a really shit
It was
Chinese accent.
yeah, it was
but,
like a drunk English man doing an
hello,
impression of a
doctor.
Chinese
Yeah,
person.
I also
Like,
love
we don't
Yeah.
talk the same. Like
everything had to relate
Yeah.
back to like China or something. Like, you know when they took those pills that killed themselves, it couldn't just be cyanide.
Yeah.
It had to be some fucking scorpion.
dragon.
Like,
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, the dragon scorpion
Scorpions.
of China. It's like, why can't you
Yeah.
just say cyanide?
That
Yeah.
goes to another point, right? There were bits like it was when Mr. Chang died, and he was trying to say something before he died, and and the doctor was
I
like,
felt bad for him at the end.
Boots, and he's like, he's left us a Chinese puzzle. It's like, why can't you just say puzzle? Like, it's just
I
a
swear,
puzzle.
they said Chinese puzzle like 3 times. It's like, it's just a puzzle, man. It's...
Yeah, they've left us a Chinese puzzle, doctor. It's like, it's a puzzle.
Did we all feel bad for Chang at the end?
I felt
No?
a bit
I mean,
bad.
he still
yeah.
murdered
no,
a
no,
bunch
I
of
did.
women, didn't he? So.
Yeah, but he also was like,
But he was just a
he
henchman.
was just
at the end
like,
of the day.
he had dreams of being a big, and he was like, when he said, the son of a peasant, I was like, oh, He really just wanted to like make it big. Like he did come from, excuse me, humble beginnings.
Yeah, he came from poverty, and he got offered this like job with with that god. And
because he was like, oh,
he had a very clear like motive,
performing in front of the queen, like.
Yeah, but he only came to his senses when he got embarrassed. You know, like I feel like it was like a really. Like
well, it wasn't
like,
when he got
yeah, but he had a clear motive. I think like that's what I like about it.
It's
it made sense.
They worshipped Weng-Chiang as a god, and this guy's come to them like, I am Weng-Chiang. Here's the evidence with my machine. I can make rats the size of lions and shit. And then he was like, oh, well, Weng-Chiang in the culture of this universe was a massive god to them, and so, because it's at the end when he was dying, he was like, oh, I believed all of it, but now I see I've been deceived. I could have had it great, like I could have just gone on my path to be like the greatest magician ever, but I was deceived by this guy claiming to be Weng-Chiang, and now I can see it wasn't true.
Yeah, it was so. I think every character in this was so developed. Like it was pretty. I don't know. That's like I think some of the new ones lack a lot. Like obviously there's lots of great development and stuff in parts, but for like the one-time characters, they don't really have enough time to do that sort of thing. Which is it's great in its own right, in the sense of like just a nice quick story. But sometimes it's a different kind of product, I guess. But
yeah,
I like that.
Well, we've come up to half an hour. Should we talk about the God Complex now to go up to an hour?
Well, first let's give our ratings on Talons of Weng-Chiang.
Yes,
of course,
We'll give our ratings out of 10 and say why we've given that rating, and then we'll head on to God Complex. So, who wants to begin? Wait, who recommended the episode?
Me.
So you start.
Okay, I'm giving this one an 8 out of 10. I think there's not much wrong with it really. It was just I don't think it's the very best of all. It didn't blow my mind, but I thought it was really, really good, really entertaining, and very developed and stuff. So 8.
Okay. So shall I go?
Yeah, you go now. I'm just.
I'd give it a 7 out of 10. Like mainly like just because there were some parts that did feel like it was unneeded, but then again it was kind of it was a lot of added comedy, which was quite good. But yeah, a lot of the stuff still holds up, like the whole plot and all that. Obviously, the racism doesn't. Like apart from that,
yeah, that's the only thing that really brings it down.
Yeah, the actual plot about like a magician kind of being like a henchman for a false god. I feel like that would be a really cool story to have in modern Hulu. But yeah, 7 out of 10.
Okay, I'd say 8 out of 10. I'm gonna go with, considering it's my first Tom Baker story. I love the acting. Lightfoot and Hugo, those two characters, they really made it. I love their dynamic.
Yeah, they made it great for me.
And I really love a lot of the unintentional humour. I like that. That's kind of a big thing for me in terms of rating stuff. I love unintentional humour like that. The story as well. It was an interesting story. I couldn't really see where it was going, and the fact that the villain, or whoever we thought was the villain, Weng-Chiang, wasn't really the main villain. It was actually Sin the whole time. I thought was kind of a cool little concept. So.
Yeah, I really appreciate the twists and turns and stuff as well.
I'll go with an 8 out of 10. This
one
definitely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, cool. So 7 and 2 8s.
Cool. That's an average of 8, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an average of 8.
Yeah.
Cool. Over school, Nestene consciousness, 8 out of 10.
Right.
Conversationess.
So, since
your
recommendation, Jack,
what did I say?
Consciousness.
Yeah, no, I did that.
The Nestene Conversationess.
Nestene Conversationess average 8 out of 10. So, Jack, since it's your suggestion, you can start the discussion about the God Complex.
Okay, so the next one that we watched was season 6, episode. Hang on, sorry about
episode
that.
11. I wrote it in my.
Episode 11, the God Complex.
I gotta say, in terms of the American thing, I personally felt this was a little bit of a shaky kind of transition. Like, it just felt.
What do you mean by that?
More just kind of, it felt like at this point in Doctor Who, like it was kind of trying a lot to be more marketable, in the sense that it would kind of be like more comedic and stuff, and in a sense where I felt like it was a little bit unnatural, like they would edit it in a more kind of like over the top kind of way, and the Doctor would generally get a bit more like, I don't know, but like I liked the Doctor being funny and stuff, but I felt like it didn't really kind of play off quite so natural. It kind of felt like, okay, we've got to up the comedic value of this, and then it kind of added to it and stuff. And I felt like at times it was a little unnatural, but it's fair enough considering what they were trying to go for.
Yeah, I get what you mean, because like it was like when he was at the beginning, he was getting very excited because he was like, "Oh, this is not like on Earth and all that. This is just like
it was just sometimes I was just a bit like, that's a bit on the edge." But mostly, I liked it.
I mean, it was just very Matt Smith. It was very 11th Doctor.
I was going to say because I can't really see what you were saying, because for me it was just kind of Matt Smith, like that's how he kind of was.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought, because I didn't really see a problem with that.
I don't know. I feel like there's episodes where. I can't exactly put my finger on exactly what it is, but there's just some things about his performance in a few of the episodes where it's just like trying to play it a lot more or something.
I'm sorry, I'm not laughing at you. I just had like this hissing sound. It was just Jack hitting his vape.
I was really confused. Like, what did I say?
No, it wasn't you. I was just like, you were just going with it. It was like, I look up, it's just Jack like. I'm sorry. Okay.
Right. Yeah. So, I going back. I didn't have a problem with it, because obviously that was who Matt Smith's Doctor was. He was like he was a. I felt like it was a good balance, because he was very kiddish the way he would be. He would get excited.
Yeah,
it wasn't.
I agree.
It wasn't a goofy kind of guy.
Yeah, it wasn't. It wasn't like a kind of Tom Baker kind of excitement. The way he was just like, oh, look at that! Like he acts like a child, like on like a sugar rush.
Yeah,
I didn't mind, because that was his Doctor, but like.
I didn't think it was like insufferable or anything, or like really like cringy or anything. I just felt like on the odd time I was a little bit like a little on the nose, but like not too. Like it was never like making me like be like, oh, this is cringy like Jodie Whittaker's Doctor is or anything like that. It was never like that bad. It's just at the odd time. So it's not like a deal breaker or anything, but it's something that bothers me that I feel like I should mention.
Yeah, Liam, how did you find the episode?
I really liked it. I liked how intriguing it was. Like, I never really kind of knew what was, like, I've seen it before, but I didn't remember it, so I couldn't really understand what was happening, and that kind of led me to just be really like hooked on it, because I wanted to know what the mystery was. Because obviously at the beginning it's with the policewoman, and she's like writing down, she says, now I understand, it's like it couldn't be anything else or whatever, you know what I mean? And I was just like,
there was one thing that was making me laugh, not the episode directly, but when he was saying like praise him and stuff, it was making me think of like the hell packs.
Bubble shock.
Oh yeah, the drink. Yeah, it was just giving me that kind of vibe. Like it wasn't like as bad as it wasn't like inherently like that, but it just reminded me of stuff. I was just like
something
laughing.
Else I enjoyed about this episode was I know it wasn't done frequently, but the security camera kind of thing, whereas the shots of the security camera. And then,
I thought it was creative.
Yeah, towards the end it kind of paid off, showing that there was a security room, and then they used that to their advantage, It
was very cool to open with a security camera like shot.
Yeah, that interested me too.
With the hotel music, it makes you think like, okay, what the hell's happening? Like, yeah,
and everything kind of like fit into place, like with the hotel music that was used later on in the plot. Things kind of like they kind of tied together in a way.
I think it was well thought out.
Going back to what you said, Stan, about the whole kid thing with Matt Smith's Doctor, they go more into it in series 7, where you see that when he's on his own, you kind of see that kind of old man inside of him, when he talks on his own, like especially in Rings of Acca 10. We should do Rings of Acca 10 because he does a really good speech when he's on his own. But like you see, he doesn't cry at all at the 11th Doctor. Like you see, especially when he was saying goodbye at the end of the God Complex, when he said goodbye to Amy and Rory, you can see he was kind of playing it off, like smiling and stuff like that. And then as soon as he went into the TARDIS, it drops.
Yeah, I I did
he
like
plays
that.
it off, like which they do play on a lot better in series 9. In series 7, sorry.
Yeah.
Where you actually
The thing
see him
is-
cry.
It's hard for me to like make a point here because I agree with everything you're saying is the thing. It's just like it's such a slight thing that gets to me a little bit. It's not like it really ruins it or anything.
Yeah.
It's just like I agree with you completely, but also sometimes I think it's maybe overplayed a bit. It could be more subtle, I think, and I know that you could argue that it is a kids show and stuff. I guess I don't know. It's just I think it's more of a personal thing. Like sometimes I felt like I could really see through it a bit. It wasn't that bad, but it was just at times.
One thing I've noticed in relation to this is, now I've watched some more of the classic era, it's gotten more for kids as time's gone on.
Yeah, agreed.
Oh yeah, definitely. I feel like that's what I like about Capaldi's is like it was very mature in comparison to Matt Smith's.
Definitely.
That's what I like a lot about 9 as well. 9 is a lot like that, I think.
Was nine
Christopher Eccleston?
Yeah, he was a lot more darker. I do like it when they go between the two. But I think this one played a little bit too much on the kids for me, just a little bit. Like, yeah, I know that's the point, but just I know this is kind of a basic thing to say, but I think David Tennant got that balance pretty spot on. Like the Waters of Mars and stuff. Like he has like those fun episodes, and then he has the Waters of Mars as well, where he takes a bit more seriously, like where he gets angry and stuff.
When he became an asshole at the end.
Yeah, like I think that
good.
I think that's a better like. I know it's not directly exactly the same, but that kind of balance I think is a lot more of a more natural balance than what the Matt Smith era had in general.
This is a little bit off topic, but we'll get back to the God Complex. But in this Peter Capaldi episode, the Zygon inversion, where he's talking to the Zygons who are they're threatening to destroy the Earth, and pretty much it's all down to this one button, or no, these two buttons that would just completely blow up the Earth, and pretty much like he's talking them out of it, and you have this really good balance of him joking, and then he gets serious when the Zygon says you don't understand. Like he just immediately goes like, oh, I don't understand. Like, are you kidding? Like, oh, you call this a war? And like it's like it's such a good example of why Capaldi's my favorite Doctor. Yeah, he did a really good balance.
Okay, to the God Complex, we might be going on a bit of a tangent again. So
we'll get better at this.
Yeah, don't worry, I'm here to regulate it because I'm more of a straightforward podcast guy. You guys know about Doctor Who. I know about.
Yeah, we'll end up nerding out.
Staying on topic.
Yeah.
So, at the very beginning, one thing that made me laugh about this episode, I always start with unintentional humor. One thing that made me fucking laugh, the guy in the gorilla suit and like runs out the bathroom.
Okay, I'm going
That
to
was
hit.
fucking
I'm
funny.
going to take a hit from my vape. This is not a hiss.
There we go. Let's have a vape break. Everyone at home following along.
Yeah, people are like listening. You just hear.
Everyone at home following along.
Like
This is a vape break. You can vape right now.
Yeah, vape with us. You will.
This is sponsored by Vape. And drink with us. I'm drinking vodka with Cherryade. Stam is drinking vodka with Pepsi.
And I'm drinking water because I'm a sensible adult.
Because he won't go to the garage because he's scared of the dark.
I'm not scared of the dark. I'm scared of ghosts. Okay, there's a difference.
Okay, so God Complex. Let's get back onto it.
Right.
Trying to think of more things to discuss. I was going to say we'll discuss the monster, but I feel like there's better towards the end.
Side characters. I
Side
really
characters,
like
yeah.
them.
Let's go.
If we're going to compare them to how crap the side characters are in the Chibnall era, then they are really good. You like them, especially what's her face?
The nurse.
Yeah, the nurse. What's her name?
I don't remember her name.
Hang on. Well, we'll just.
Talking of side characters, though, David Walliams' character, the mole kind of looking guy,
He was really dislikable.
he was
but that was, like,
fucking
the whole point.
annoying.
Yeah.
I did not like him at all.
Yeah, but he was supposed to be.
I didn't like him, but I liked. Yeah,
I liked him at first.
Yeah, I felt that he was.
I liked
necessary.
him at first. I thought he was kind of like humorous, like, oh, haha, our planet's the one that gets invaded and stuff. And then he just really started to annoy me.
He did bring it up.
But like you said, he
bring it
was
up a few
necessary. But
times.
necessary in what way? Like necessary to the plot?
Well, it was how he
No, I
I felt like him being the only one that survived says a lot about his character, being the most invaded. He stayed out of trouble and all that. And he was such a coward, and he ended up being the one that survived. And I felt like that was just really annoying, but that was the whole point.
Talking about survivors.
And it gave the Doctor a good amount of time to get angry and stuff.
I really liked that.
It
How
gave
the
like
Doctor
him a
was
reason
getting,
to kind of have his
pissed at him
little
and
like
stuff.
mini arc in the episode.
Like, but the Doctor was also holding back as well, in a way. Like he was holding back, being like
I always like that kind of stuff.
proper angry. You know
Yeah,
what I
no,
mean?
but you know when Rita died because of like, well, no, both Rita and Joe. Well, no, not Joe. What's the other guy called? Fuck. Oh, Howie, the guy with the glasses. Yeah. How both Rita and Howie dying was David Williams' character's fault, and it was when Rita died you see in the background him throwing stuff and all that.
Yeah,
in
that
anger,
was great. Yeah.
and kicking stuff over. I thought that was
don't want to
really
interrupt.
good.
I just spilt my vodka everywhere, so I need to get a towel.
Oh no, the precious vodka. Oh no. So this will be just a quick break.
I'm getting quite tipsy, to be fair.
Okay. What were you saying? Sorry.
Yeah, like the whole anger stuff. You know, you said he was holding back his anger, and then it takes Rita dying, and for you see him in the background throwing stuff and kicking stuff and all that, and go like ah. Like,
Speaking about
really cool.
the character deaths, that's something I really enjoyed about this episode. Not like I love people dying.
It didn't hold
but
back at all. Yeah.
The fact that it's like, it's like there were consequences
Yeah,
to this
it's
episode.
brutal.
Like all of the characters died pretty much, and I really like that.
Yeah, even though I'm happy, you know, Lightfoot,
Yeah.
Mr. Jago survived. Like, it's nice to not have a like, oh, thank you for saving us, Doctor. Goodbye. Like at the end,
Especially for like you said, Stan. Like Matt Smith's era was very kid friendly, so this as well was like a bit of a change. Like wow.
Yeah, I can agree with
Because
that.
I didn't
yeah.
expect them to actually be dead at the beginning, and I was like, like when they were placing them on that stage in the puppet room, I was like, fuck me.
I was expecting maybe like one death or something, just to kind of give that kick at the end, but it really just like bam, 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 dead.
The whole
pretty
like,
brutal.
look of them as well, having their life sucked out of them. You've got like that deadpan face with the pale skin. Like I thought that was kind of
Also, what
really
do you think
scary.
about it being like the Doctor that caused their deaths in a way?
It was interesting. It gave a lot of it gave a lot of room for stuff to like. It gave a lot of room for like characters to kind of
it
react
added
and
like
stuff,
a layer to the Doctor. I
which
feel kind
was
of like
good.
because he's always felt kind of responsible for the deaths of his companions and stuff, but then the deaths of because he's used to saving people, isn't he? And then the fact that near towards the end, it was like the fact I was giving them faith in me is the reason that they've been killed now. It's like
and it also goes into you know, why Amy and Rory wasn't in the last half of season 6, because you know he kind of left them and he was scared to lose them because of what happened. He was like, yeah, like, you know, there was his line delivery. There was where like Karen Gillan said, like, you're just dropping me off like we shared a cab, and he said, what's the alternative? Me standing over your grave. I thought that was like
That was this one, wasn't it?
yeah.
Yeah, that was that personally was my favourite
I wrote
part of the
down,
episode. The kind of
like,
last bit.
You're
Good
dropping me off
ending.
and saying goodbye like we shared a cab. Like I thought
Good.
it was just
Yeah.
Yeah,
good dialogue.
when he's in the TARDIS and that like beautiful score kicks up and
Murray
stuff,
Gold,
TARDIS starts
it was
going and
quality
everything.
dialogue.
That was
Gold.
just that scene just was.
I also like the scene
beautiful,
where
like, it was
he
like
was giving
immaculate.
the speech to her near the end, when she was in her room, and then he was giving the speech to her. I like that speech.
Oh yeah, he's
Yeah,
manipulating her. Yeah.
trying to get rid
Like,
of
not
her
manipulating,
faith,
but
being like,
yeah.
I've led you to your
Yeah,
death and all
I
that.
Yeah.
really like that
forget
because
your
he's
faith.
never he's never really said to a companion before just I'm not your savior. I'm just
Yeah,
a
I'm not the
madman in a
person you
box,
think
and
I am,
I'm literally just this fucking I'm nothing. I'm not
Yeah.
who you think I am. I'm a countless people have died because of me and all that shit. It was really interesting to see.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really thought this kind of scenario really brought out like a lot of like emotion, which I commend that commend it a lot for.
So
in that
we
sense.
also like to talk about. I know it's a new Who, but companions. What did you think of Amy and Rory? I know we've spoken about this before, but
they're
for
in my
the sake
top
of the
5.
podcast,
I really liked them, yeah, but I don't think this was like their A game. But obviously, I don't think they really needed to be because there were so many other characters. But yeah, they were still solid, but obviously, not their strongest episode.
I am
because
kind
they
of
didn't need to be, I
annoyed that
guess.
Amy and Rory didn't stay on. That's not about they're like my second favourite duo. Obviously, my first favourite is Jamie and Zoe from the Charlton era, but my
I
get what
second
you're saying,
is
though.
Amy and Rory.
it would have been a
But,
more meaningful
It was a really nice bittersweet ending if they just sort of left it like that. Like instead of having them dying in like a really stupid way, how they did in the Angel City.
Yeah. You know what? I agree with you there because this was also after this episode was after it was revealed that River Song was their daughter, isn't it? So not in a rude way, but they didn't really have much need towards the Doctor anymore. So
Yeah,
this
it
could have
would've
been
been
a good send off.
It really just got rid of that emotional punch. It really just kind of ruined their ending, I think. Same way that I think Rose was ruined when she was brought back all the time and stuff, and even Clara and
Yeah.
I think a lot of
This would have
commanders
been a
had
really good
suffered from
ending
that.
for them.
Yeah, like people were annoyed that the 11 and Clara didn't have a lot of episodes because it was the last half of Series 7 where Clara got introduced. But imagine if they had it like this, right? Amy and Rory left, and the last half of Season 6 was a bunch of specials. You know how they did it with David Tennant, how his final episodes were a bunch of specials. If they did that for Season 6, and then Season 7, they introduced, Clara, and then had that entire season, that would have been quite good, I reckon.
Yeah, I would be interested to see how that would have played out.
We prove we're better writers than Moffat.
So, the monster of the episode. What did you think of the monster or alien? Yeah.
I didn't really like it that much. I thought it was a very uninspired kind of just CGI Rhino thing. It was just a bit.
But in terms of motivations, the motivation stores, I liked.
Yeah. That. Yeah. I like the principle of it. I don't know, kind of naff to me.
Laughing at the Big Bang
Theory.
Okay, so
knock, Penny.
knock. It's me, the Doctor.
Doctor.
Yo, Sheldon should have a guest appearance on.
Imagine Jim Parsons is next Doctor.
Doctor.
Jim Parsons next Doctor.
Doctor. Yeah, we're getting off topic.
What is it?
So the monster is for the audience at home. Stan's girlfriend has just walked out of the room in a mood because we're talking about Doctor Who. So
for the audience at home, she was also joking and she was actually getting Polly, but she went "The Gang Theory's good."
Polly is Stan's dog.
Oh yes, and for context, Polly's just like a random person.
So, another thing I wrote down for this episode, I enjoyed the soundtrack as well. Specifically, the soundtrack when he was giving the speech to Amy,
Yeah, when he's in the I think it's the same piece when he's in the TARDIS as well, and he's kind of there, and it's the TARDIS is going up and down, and he's there staring at his console and
him being alone,
really sad and stuff. Yeah, that's one of my favourite pieces from Marigold's.
era,
it's
just what I love about the entire Moffat era.
Good.
It's all Marigold, every single bit. It just.
Is there
bang
obviously in the classics there's different composers, but in the kind of newer eras, is there different composers than Marigold?
There's Marigold from 9 till 12, and then there's a new one who's really.
Oh, is that Jodie's era? I still haven't listened to Jodie's soundtrack.
Yeah, very uninspired.
I need to listen to it.
Yeah, it's very just dun, 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 sort of like just
Yeah.
standard like action
Yeah,
stuff.
it's-
You know what I mean?
So, anything
Yeah.
else you guys want to cover with this episode?
No, I think that's all my points, all my notes.
That was musical, man. That was like a proper note. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Like I said towards the beginning, Jack, come on, let's calm down now.
I farted right into my face. It like went up.
You're really short.
Literally, I've got my leg on my chair. It just went right up.
So, like I said at the beginning of our
Please keep
discussion, I liked how the radio thing at the beginning was used towards the end, and I like how the pictures of the previous victims were on the wall. That was cool. Oh, and I like how they had the notebook for the policewoman, and they used it to help solve what was happening. That was cool.
Yeah, like it wasn't just like a exposition at the beginning, you know.
Yeah,
just to
it was
kinda tell
actually
us what's
useful to the
happening.
plot.
It was used for the plot, yeah. That's what I love to see.
Right, so is there, do you think we can rate it
ratings?
now? Or? So who introduced it? You introduced it, Stan.
Yeah, I'm
So
ready.
you go first.
Oh no, I introduced it.
I didn't introduce it.
sorry, yeah, Jack, you introduced
Yeah,
it.
so I think I'm gonna go with another safe 7 out of 10. I reckon overall, great soundtrack. It was a decent plot. You know, it's not forgettable. It's just overshadowed by some of the good ones that are in season 6.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's
so
the
definitely
strongest,
7 out of 10.
but good.
And you, Stan?
I would go with a controversial 6. Don't think I liked it quite as much as Jack did, but you know, yeah, it was. There's not much wrong with it really. It just didn't really like grab me as much as others did. It was just good.
I'm going to agree with you, Stan. I'm going to go for a 6 as well. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the plot. I enjoyed the monster, and I enjoyed the soundtrack. But overall, it wasn't fully gripping me. And like towards the beginning, it was, and then after a while, it just kind of got like, let's get to the point of it.
I wouldn't say it's a must watch, but it's like one of those things, you know, as like a, it's not like a, I know it's not like a filler, but like as a kind of like not crucial.
I mean, it is kind of
episode,
crucial because at
it
the
did a
end.
good
yeah,
job.
I was going to say it is a crucial episode in terms of like,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
There's like a whole
maybe
reason
felt a
why
bit-
Amy and Rory are like not in their last half.
it felt very anticlimactic to me
Okay.
as well. Like,
I guess like for like a semi-ending, it wasn't the most worthwhile. I don't think it was just like a pretty standard episode with a good ending. I'd
But if
say.
you were to put that in the Chibnall era,
So,
it would
yeah.
be the best episode from the Chibnall era.
Oh,
so
definitely. Yeah.
that is
Yeah,
an average
agreed.
of 6 then.
6, yeah. So we've got 8 out of
Yeah,
10
same
for
as
Talons
before.
of Weng-Chiang, and a 6 out of 10 for God Complex.
Right. That was a good second
enough.
episode, I think.
Shall we?
Yeah, who's going to be suggesting?
Should we wrap it up and we're not suggesting this time, remember,
Oh,
Jack?
we are doing Revolution of the Daleks, aren't we?
And I reckon we should also do Resolution, the
So
two
we're
New
doing
Year's
a
specials. With Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Wait,
so
are we on that?
it's
Resolution
specials
There's a lot of
episode.
stuff
Yeah.
to laugh about. Like these ones, there are actually good stuff that you can talk about. But it'd be
No,
nice
this
to
feels like
actually
it's a
have
good pattern. Every 3 episodes we just have like kind of a special thing, you know? Like,
For the specials,
Yeah,
or every
I've
two
got an
episodes.
idea,
I like
right?
that.
For the special episode, the next special episode, I feel like we should do the TV movie.
yes, definitely.
Yeah,
You know
I
what?
agree.
We
I
could do
agree.
the TV
Untitled
movie
Chapter.
and the... no, I was going to say the TV movie and then the other one that's kind of like is kind of a special, the superhero one.
Oh, the return of
that's
Doctor
okay.
Mysterio.
Yeah, because that's kind of a
Yeah.
that's kind of a special one. Because it's on
Yeah, I don't
Netflix.
talk
It's a
about that one.
completely separate thing, and I don't know why, but
But yeah,
I just like to say something. So, we can't 100% guarantee just in case something goes wrong, but the next episode could be the first ever guest appearance.
Yes.
If you're all
oh
on
yeah,
that.
Liam.
Yes.
Mr.
Yeah,
Clare.
we have a potential guest star, Liam Clear, who is quite well known on TikTok. He has a fair amount of followers. He's also quite a passionate New Who fan. So, and from what I understand, he's a lot more supportive of the Jodie Whittaker era. So I think that would add some
And
contrast.
also,
that
to
episode,
end it as
especially.
well, me and Jack did some promotion on Omegle, and there's a couple of people I want to shout out. So,
Of course, yeah, we've got a shout out.
one of them, your name is Kira. If you're watching, thank you for
Yo,
watching.
what's up, Kira? Thank you
What's
for
up, Kira?
watching if you are.
Another one of you is Wyatt. So hello,
Yo,
Wyatt.
Wyatt. Big up
Thank
Wyatt.
you for being here.
Wow,
And,
we've got a fan base.
I ripped out the page where I wrote down their names, so I'm sorry about that. But you were in our comments section in the last episode. So
Oh, hang on, I got it. I'm on it.
yeah,
I'm on it.
Jack's going to quickly pull that up. Jack, pull up the names. So Kira and Wyatt, thank you if you have watched this episode. We do thank you very much.
The next people, we've got Jacob and Zeus.
And Zeus, thank you, Zeus, god
So-
of the Greeks.
There's also one more thing I'd like to bring up that it's kind of like a self-reflection-ish sort of thing on the last one. I'm not sure if this is coincidence or not, right? But after we released Paradise Towers and Jack posted it in the Tidus posting chat stuff, I've noticed like a big surge of like Paradise
Yes.
Towers memes. Like there was like 5 Paradise Towers memes in like the space of a few days. I'm not sure if that's like a coincidence or not, but it doesn't seem like
Surely it's
surely
not.
that's like
Surely
because
not.
of us,
That
right?
is us.
Like no one ever talks about that episode. I'm pretty like chuffed with that.
So
that is-
if you're
that
here
is the
from
case, because-
TARDIS posting, we welcome you. Thank you very much. And if you
Yeah.
have watched all the way through, we thank you so much. We're having a good time doing this.
yeah, thank you for your time.
Thank you for your time. And
Yeah.
we hope you enjoy. If you do have any criticisms or feedback, please let
Or
us know,
suggestions
because we're always
for future
suggestions. We
Yeah.
are always trying to improve.
Or even so, if you want to be a guest star,
Yes,
we're not
we're not
I don't think we're
opposed.
opposed to that. Are
If you
we?
want to be
Yeah.
a guest, we welcome
Guest
all
stars are pretty
opinions.
cool.
And options. If you
if
hate
you've
it,
even got
even if you
different
hate
opinions.
if you hate it or love it, we would love to have you on. So please feel free to ask. Thank you if you watched all the way through.
Yeah, if you
And
dislike
we'll-
it, we will bash you
Yes,
completely
thank you.
the entire episode.
But we'll
So-
respect your opinion. But
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
please,
yeah,
thank you for tuning in.
Yeah, don't be opposed to.
We'll see you
criticism.
next episode.